Hello, Teal Nation. Welcome back to another episode of the Chant Pod, presented by Revolution Mortgage. I'm Sam Wiederhaft. I hope you enjoyed a hot dog or two or three at the football game on Saturday. And hey, how cool was that drone show at halftime? Just awesome stuff. And great to see everybody back at Brooks Stadium as the Chants got their first win of the year over Charleston Southern. For this week's episode, we're headed over to the court to talk volleyball with head coach Steve Loeswick. A strong start for the Chants so far with a signature win over Maryland and some really cool environments for the home matches. Coach and I talked about the talent in this year's group as well as their goals for the season. So let's go ahead and hear from him. Here's my conversation with Steve Loeswick. Another round of the Chant Pod presented by Revolution Mortgage. Today we're going to the volleyball court and talking with head indoor coach Steve Loeswick. Coach, thanks for bringing us into your office. It seems like with this round of Chant Pods, we just keep going in coaches' offices. So I think we might have to start rating who's got the best office. I like this one. You got a good space.
I probably need to do a little bit more decorating, but it'll get there.
It's a good spot. We got the HTC Center. The floor is right over there. But you guys are well into your season at this point, 4-2 so far. So just how's the season been treating you so far?
You know, one of the main things we always talk about with our team is just constant growth and trying to get better every single day. We've had some tough matches, and a lot of all that adversity is going to help us continue that process. Right? It's a long season. Obviously, we're doing some good things, but there's also lots of room for improvement still.
You guys just got off a sweep at the Wildcat Classic at Davidson. You won every single set. Ended up winning that tournament. What impressed you the most about your team and how you guys were able to grow and win that tournament?
Definitely different challenges there, right? Some teams maybe that we haven't heard of as much, or maybe it could have been easy to go in and not be prepared and kind of have some teams sneak up on us. But being able to not drop a set was really impressive. Getting to play a lot of people this weekend, so getting those younger kids some experience so they can hopefully help us down the road. And we kind of just went in and took care of business. So it was a good job.
And you guys brought in, so far this year, some really impressive teams here to the HTC Center. A win over Maryland. North Carolina was here. A really tough match against South Carolina. But what has impressed you about the environment here at the HTC Center? Because I took one peek in that South Carolina match, and it was electric.
Well, one of the biggest things I saw, a lot of the athletes supporting each other. Right. So I think baseball was there, and soccer and basketball, and having those relationships between the teams and coming out to support each other is really magical here at Coastal. And then trying to get some more of the local people, the volleyball community out, because volleyball is a fun sport. It's exciting. It's very athletic, players. You'll be surprised how hard that ball's traveling. But it's hopefully we continue to draw great crowds and give them something great to watch.
You mentioned the support from other sports. Just how important do you think that is? Because, we saw baseball at your matches. I've seen your players out at other games around Coastal. So just how important is that to show support all around the athletic department?
I think student athletes understand the grind. They understand, the ups and downs. So having that support, whether, you're playing your best or not, whether you're feeling great or not, whether you have tests that week or not, there's just this understanding of how much each of these student athletes is given to the university and to the athletic department, and being there to support each other is really important. And I think we're doing a great job.
It really started off with a bang, like I mentioned, with those two big teams in Maryland and North Carolina for that first weekend, coming to the HTC Center in South Carolina as well. When you put this non-conference schedule together, what were you trying to accomplish with that?
Well, when we recruit people here to our program, we want to play against the best competition we can. We don't shy away from any names or any big conferences. Like we want those challenges, and that's why some of the people have chosen to be a part of this program. Right? It'd be easy to go grab a bunch of wins somewhere else, but to play against Power Four teams, constantly to push ourselves against. And try to get into that top 50, that top 25 range. That's our goal. And we can't do that if we don't play the best competition out there.
Right. When you look at this roster on paper, it's got a lot of returning players from years past and some new talent as well. So how is that team kind of gelling together so far?
Yeah, it's unique, right? So we have 7 of our 15 came from last fall, were with us. So that means that we have 8 new players. We have 4 freshmen. We have 2 grad transfers. We had 2 people who transferred at the semester coming in January. So 8 new people that weren't here with us last fall. So trying to get them to have those relationships to help, help each other and push each other to be great is really important. So we spent a lot of time on that relationship piece.
Volleyball is obviously a very international sport, and working with Colin, our beach coach, and just learning kind of what the recruiting looks like for that, because these players come from all over. So what's kind of your recruiting philosophy? How are you finding these players, and what makes a Chanticleer in your eyes?
Somebody we want good humans and good people, somebody who wants the best for the people around them. So we try to figure out the type of person they are. Now, they have to be a certain level athlete and volleyball player to help us be successful. But for our program to be great, we need to hit both of those pieces, right? Being a good person, somebody who's going to work hard, somebody who cares about the people around them. And like you said, international players, like sometimes we're able to grab some really good players from overseas, and there's different agencies and things that help them come abroad. And but then we also have a lot of former international players who are currently playing overseas, in the pro leagues and things like that. So, with the previous staff here that recruited a lot of international players, we have a good amount of coastal representation overseas right now.
This team right now at the part of the schedule, you guys are hitting the road for about a month and don't come back here and play matches till October. But the road trips, how does that help the team chemistry with the team all being together?
I think at the beginning they really enjoy being with each other. The bus rides and we'll have a plane trip coming up. And finding some new cities that maybe we haven't been to, and letting them explore a little bit and getting to see different areas of the country. And doing it together really helps with that relationship piece that we were just talking about, right? Getting to know maybe the freshman a little bit more than you did before, getting to know that transfer, and the more personal that relationship is, the easier it is for us to hold each other accountable.
I want to touch on a few of the main players of your team. The first one, the triple-double queen, Jalen Stout, who's led the NCAA in triple-doubles the past couple of years. Yeah. An incredible player, one of the best to ever put on this uniform. What has it been like coaching her for the past few seasons?
She's a special kid. She's a special player. Every person who goes to college has ups and downs and confidence and no confidence and all that stuff. But she's pushed through all those challenges, and I think our relationship is really strong. But she's an extremely talented player. We're very thankful that she's here and is deciding to stay here, and and really help push Coastal as far as we think we can go.
A friend of the Chant Pod, I may add. She was on the first episode. Then we brought this back probably about a year ago this time. Yeah. Now in her third season, though, how has she kind of stepped up as more of a leader, because she's been here for 3 seasons now?
Yeah, it's great to see the maturity level of her game. Sometimes when you first get to college, you think you can just hit the ball really hard and be successful. Now you can have some success doing that, but there's also, when you get with a bigger block and things like that, you have to mature your game. You mature your attacking. Her serving's matured. She's always been a great defender. And then the leadership piece, her voice, the team's always looked up to her because of how she plays and how good a player she is. But now how thoughtful she is when she's speaking to the team and in the huddle and things like that is really taking a big step forward.
So run me through, when it's a triple-double, it's kills, assists. What's the other one that she's dominant at?
Digs.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the easiest way to get a triple-double. There's obviously other ways. You can get 10 blocks, you can get 10 aces, but the most usual one is kills, assists, digs.
So to be good at all 3 of those things, how much work has she put into, doing everything at a really high level?
Again, special player, special athlete, understands the game, grew up, mom's a coach, all right, so she's been in the gym forever, extremely competitive, so she never gives up on any plays, which makes her, that great defender and that great setter. We do run a 6-2 offense, so we have 2 setters that are in our offense, so that allows her to do multiple things at a high level. If we just ran her as a 5-1 setter, she'd still be a great help to our team, but we wouldn't get as many kills. So we're trying to find those pieces that can help us be successful and put them on the floor.
I mean, with every player, the reaction time in volleyball, I think, is super impressive to me. I don't know how they're able to return some of those kills because it's just, they come in so fast. Another player that's been with you for a while, Bailey Earnhardt, how much has she progressed since you've seen her?
It's her senior year right now, and currently she's owned our libero position, right? That main defensive player who wears the other color jersey. I'm really proud of her for putting in the work this summer and being a great leader. And her improving on her serve receive has really helped her, kind of rise to the level of that leader in the back of the court for us.
In every volleyball match I've watched, it seems like the libero is always the most outspoken one on the floor. I think back to like Lena Parangini when she was here a few years ago. Like they're always the most outspoken. Is that typical for a volleyball team?
Well, you need a leader in the back row that has some grit, that has some fire, that has some passion. And since they're not allowed to attack balls and be the play ending, block or kill, a lot of times that their fire can just kind of come from the back of the court and kind of feed into those front row players. So,
sure.
And she's been doing a great job.
And we talk about the front row. Emily Fowler is second on this team in kills. She's got 51 so far, 6'3", but super athletic. I mean, what's impressed you the most about her?
Yeah, she's definitely very mobile and is killing a ton of balls for us, and her blocking continues to improve. I guess one of the pieces that I really enjoy is the fact that she's never satisfied, right? She's always in watching film. She's wanting to get in the gym to get better at things. She's going to continue to grow as a player and as a person. And she's doing a really nice job so far.
And how is she using that size to her advantage?
Well, it's nice to have that. I'm like 6'3" and long limbs, long arms, but she's putting in the time with, our strength coach. So she's getting off the ground. She's, probably touching 10-4, 10-5, up there around. So I think, she's going to continue to push herself to be great. We're happy with where she's at, and glad she's not satisfied. So we'll continue to help her get better. Talking
with head volleyball coach Steve Loeswick on the Chant Pod, presented by Revolution Mortgage. Your daughter Bella is on the team this year. She's a freshman. How cool is that to have her on the same team that you're coaching?
Yeah, it's. I knew there'd be some challenges, coaching your own kid at the college level. We did talk to the team before I offered her a spot, and she'd been around the group long enough. They know she can play at a high level. They know she's a great person, and they gave the okay to bring her aboard. I was really pleasantly surprised with where she was during the preseason and really pushing our starting group to get better. It's kind of funny. I think I see her more this year than I did last year because I get to see her every day. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure my wife is as happy, but it's been fun having her around.
And how involved have you been just in her volleyball journey? Obviously having your responsibilities with Coastal, but also trying to teach her as well.
Yeah, it's my wife's a volleyball coach as well, right? So she's the high school coach that coached them to that state championship last year. So we've been a volleyball family for as long as Bella's been alive, right? So she's been in the gym, watching the game, hearing us coach, hearing how we treat people. And there's definitely times where I tried to help her, give her some individual time, but she'd always come to our camps and things like that. And also gave her some room to grow under some other coaches. So it wasn't always, you have to be a volleyball player. It's not how we raise our children, but, it's a great sport. They love the sport. And if they want to be the best they can be, they're going to come ask us for help, and we're going to help them.
Let's talk about the actual surface that you guys are playing on, because if people watch Coastal Volleyball this year, they'll notice a brand new court, the teal and the black. I mean, just how do you feel about that new look this year?
It's fun. When you see it on TV and you see it on video, it's like, wow, there's a lot of teal going on in there. Mm-hmm. It took us a little while to get used to, but right now it just feels like home. It feels right. We should put as much teal on, in our arena and our campus as possible. Our girls love playing in our teal jerseys, so that's just who we are. So it's beautiful.
And we're doing this interview on a Teal Tuesday, so it's very fitting. I'll tell you, watching it on TV, it looks incredible. Yeah. I mean, it really, really pops out and just makes everything look great. You stepped into this head coaching job in 2023, which was a wild year. You end up winning Sun Belt Coach of the Year that season. The team goes to the NCAA tournament. For the past now 2.5 years, now that you get into your second full-time season as the indoor coach, how much have you learned as a head coach in that time?
Well, I've been coaching about 28 years, I think, and had plenty of head coaching experience. Well, I will tell you is that the whole athletic world at all the universities is changing, and how we have to handle student athletes and but my goal is going to continue to be to help them become the best people they can be. And I think when I push them to be great humans and great people, they're going to want to stay here, and they're going to want to give their best effort in the gym. And we know the game well enough. I got a great staff. We're going to have a ton of success. So always changing, always learning. Trying to get better as a coach. But it's I think it's those relationship pieces that are going to help us sustain success.
And you were obviously here as the head beach coach for a while, and have a ton of head coaching experience with that side as well. And you had assisted on the indoor side before that, before stepping into the head coaching role. Was it a bit of an adjustment when you stepped into that head spot a couple of years ago?
I wasn't taking the spot to try to get the job 2 years ago or 3 years ago, whatever it was. I stepped in because there was a group of student athletes that needed help, right? And the head coach had some family stuff and had to step away. They had 2 assistants who are very knowledgeable, but they just needed somebody to kind of, lead the ship, right? And I didn't come in and make too many changes or anything like that. And really, I went through the season not anticipating coming back to the indoor side, because I love my beach team. I love the beach program. I love how we've built it. But it was a great experience. Again, building those relationships with those student athletes. It's tough when you lose a coach, a week or 2 into the season, and but they were very receptive to me and who I was, and enjoyed being around. And I don't think we really lost too many players, because there's a lot of transferring that's going on around different sports. But yeah, I just went in because there's a group of athletes that needed help, and I could help them because I had the experience. And at the end of the season, like you said, coach of the year, all that stuff, that was great. And then I had to spend some time figuring out what, talking with my wife and things like that, if I wanted to go back to the indoor, because indoor is different than beach. Right. There's a little higher stress level. There's a little, a little bit more demand on some stuff, but it's, I did miss it enough to come back and do it.
Well, on the beach program, coming off a historic season this past year with Colin Wilson, who's been your assistant before and now is the head man over there. Just how proud are you of that program?
So proud, right? And proud of those athletes. And Colin was my assistant, and we're lucky to bring him back to be the head coach here. And hopefully we can continue to keep him in that role. Because there's a lot of special things that can happen in the beach world, right? You don't have to be a Power 4 program to have great success.
Right.
I was really proud of the staff. I was proud of Colin. I was proud of the girls for putting in that work, and hopefully they continue that success.
Yeah, that 2023 season, you talk about stepping up because the players needed a leader, and obviously the success that came with that. What were some of your feelings as far as what happened on the court that year when that year came to a close?
That was a very young team, right? So a lot of the juniors this year were freshmen that year,
right.
Like Jalen and Emily was a freshman that year, although Emily didn't get a ton of time. We had a libero who was a freshman that year, and I think the one piece that really helped us push everything over the top that year was Jasmine Rivet. She was a great senior leader, right? She was passionate and she was competitive, and she didn't let her team drop down a level. She was ready to win, and she forced the people around her to play at a high level. And she was a great player. She's still a great player. And, she's playing overseas professionally, playing with, the Canadian national team, and she's having a great career. But without her, that would have been more of a struggle. But, her kills, but especially her back row, her passing, defense, and overall leadership was really important that year.
The power behind her kills, because I called a few matches that year on the ESPN Plus stream, the power behind her kills was just incredible. I mean, I don't know how she got that kind of speed. just coming off her hand, it was really, really fun to watch. But I mean, you mentioned Rive. We got the Annette Namath jersey behind you, which she was a player here a few years ago. How important is it for you to keep in contact with your former players?
Definitely one of our goals is to kind of rekindle the alumni base. Like, I think we have a good grasp of the last 5 years, 6 years, but we want to get a little bit deeper than that because there's been some great teams that, we have a 1996 championship team, I think, coming up on an anniversary next year. We're going to try to do something for that team next fall. But the sport's been here for a long time. So we're going to try to do our best to kind of get that alumni base, back in town, back in the gym, celebrate them as, coastal alumni. And it's a big piece of what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I love it. Go back last year, it didn't go the way that you wanted to, a 13-17 record overall. Talk me through some of the challenges that last year's team faced.
Yeah, a lot of opportunities for growth, right? So with adversity and losses comes growth, and hopefully, understanding why things didn't go our way, how we can adjust, how we can be a little bit more resilient, in situations. We played a lot of good volleyball last year, and I think at the end of the year, in my opinion, we're one of the 3 teams that could have won the conference tournament. So we were playing good ball at the end. Unfortunately, we had a tough matchup with Arkansas State early in the conference tournament, who's still playing great ball right now. But we're probably weren't as healthy as we would have liked last year, but we fought, and hopefully that helps us pay off this year.
We were talking before this. You went to Southern California as a student there and played volleyball there back in the 90s. Take me through that experience and just how that, led you to love the sport like you do right now.
Yeah, so, I grew up in Buffalo, New York, so I played some volleyball up there. My dad played a little bit, so I followed him around. But we got to play some high school ball, play some club ball. Was lucky enough to make the junior national team for a couple of years. And then when it was time to pick a college, I had some opportunities, a couple on the East Coast and a couple on the West Coast, and visited some schools, and got on USC's campus, and it was beautiful.
Probably the farthest from Buffalo you can go is Southern California.
Yeah, it was a pretty far trek, and back then,
sure.
Talking about my age here, but we didn't have cell phones or anything like back then, right? So my parents put me on a plane with a bag and a box and said, "All right, well, call me every Wednesday." I said, "Okay."
Nice.
And great experience, great coaches, and learned a lot about the game, and just being with people who love the sport just helps cultivate that.
I was watching the ESPYs back in July, and the Penn State head coach for their women's team, after they won the national championship, she got the big award for her courage and her cancer battle and what she had to go through. But, seeing volleyball on that stage at the ESPYs and one of the biggest moments, I thought was really cool. How much have you seen in your time working in college volleyball? How has the sport continued to grow?
Oh, it's leaps and bounds. And I hope that, athletic directors see that, because there's obviously they're having to make tough decisions, with where they're going to put their finances. But every time we turn the TV on, there's great volleyball on TV. The viewership continues to grow. Right, the crowds that are continuing to grow. Nebraska had 95,000 last year in a football stadium. Right, but every time they're on the court, or Wisconsin and Florida and Hawaii, right, all these teams are putting thousands and thousands of people in the stands. And it's exciting, and more young girls are playing, more young boys are playing. The boys' side is growing too, but hopefully they see the value and see the growth with the professional teams or the professional leagues that are happening now too. That it's going to continue to grow here in America.
And you talk about exciting. I think you guys play a very exciting brand of volleyball, and we'll go back to the schedule because conference play doesn't start for a little bit. You guys are still playing some non-conference tournaments, so. You talked about the growth. I mean, what are some things that you want to see this team accomplish before hitting Sun Belt play?
Yeah, it's just being very consistent, right? We've had some special, players make special plays, which is great. We've had players have great matches. We have yet to have all 6 or 7 of our starters play at a high level at the same time, right? So, but luckily we kind of have each other's backs when you don't have, that consistency. But we're going to continue to push for that. Being mentally engaged for practice, making sure we're taking advantage of those opportunities to get better. And then just being supportive, being in a positive environment and helping each other grow. There's challenges coming up, a couple more Power 4 teams, and we're looking forward to it.
I should have asked this earlier because we were talking about Southern California and the West Coast, but now being on the East Coast and being in Conway since 2020, right, was your first year you got here with the beach team. Yeah. What do you like about Myrtle Beach and Conway and just the community here?
It's I wasn't sure how we're going to like it. Obviously, I went to school on the West Coast. Been kind of in the Southeast for most of my volleyball career. I was down in Jacksonville right before I came up here to Conway. Pretty similar vibe, right? There's a tourist area, but there's also lots of family-friendly, smaller beaches that we enjoy going to. It's a little bit quieter. Have the family-owned, delis and things like that.
Yeah.
So we enjoy it, and hopefully we continue to grow the sport in the area. Right?
Yeah.
There's some good high school ball, a couple of nice clubs in the area, for AAU volleyball. But hopefully get more and more girls, playing the sport.
Yeah, Coach, I'll close it out with this, but playing some tough teams, some tough matches this first part of the year. How good do you believe this team can be?
Well, I think we can win every match we step on the floor for.
Yeah.
Right. Are we going to do that? Probably not. But if we don't think we can do that, then I don't understand why we'd play the games. So I love our team. Our players are invested, and it's going to be a fun year.
Coach, I appreciate the time. Thanks for getting us to learn about more of your team. We're excited to see what you guys can do.
All right. Appreciate it.
Calm, cool, and collected are the words that I would use for Coach Loeswick. Of course, he's got that beach volleyball background and now on the indoor side. Love how he's able to tap into this alumni base and maintain those relationships to really strengthen his program. This weekend, the Chants are headed to Raleigh for the Wolfpack Invitational with matches against Cleveland State on Friday, Utah Valley on Saturday, and NC State on Sunday. Football is back home for the second week in a row, and this should be a good one. ECU visits Brooks Stadium on Saturday for the first time ever at 7:30. Teal Nation set an attendance record in the first game, and I wouldn't be shocked if this one tops it. Should be a great environment, so get out to Brooks Stadium on Saturday, and let's have some fun against the Pirates. Our men's golf team finished fourth in the Myrtle Beach Golf Trips Intercollegiate, but it was junior Jack Lee who won the individual championship at 14 under. What a start to the season for him. Women's golf also placed fourth in the Golf Week Fall Challenge down in Pawleys Island. Looking ahead, men's soccer is at home on Friday against North Florida at 7 p.m., and women's soccer begins Sunbelt play on the road against JMU on Saturday at 7. Men's tennis also fires up their fall schedule with the Elon Invitational from Friday to Sunday in North Carolina. We'll cap off the episode right there. Thanks again to Coach Loeswick for stopping by and giving us the insight on this team. Really looking forward to seeing what Coastal can do this season on the court. Another fun weekend ahead. We'll recap it all next week, but for now, I'm Sam Wiederhaft signing off. Chants up.